Hello guys and welcome back to Makeup FOMO. Today we are doing a one brand tutorial kind of thing. Basically just a full face of e.l.f. products. I have been wanting to try to do some of these one brand, gosh my hair is a mess. I have been wanting to do one of these one brand looks for a really long time, and I finally went through my collection and realized I definitely have enough to do e.l.f. So I've been buying e.l.f. products literally since I even started doing makeup, probably I don't even know, 10 years ago whenever I first got interested in makeup, or actually maybe even before. e.l.f. is the OG. I feel like when we were all in high school and we could afford e.l.f. So e.l.f. has just been around and been in my heart forever. So I feel like it's very fitting that I do my first full face one brand look with e.l.f. products. So I'm using a combination of some kind of more throwback, older e.l.f. products, and definitely a bunch of newer ones too. The only thing that I didn't have, which I don't even know if I have ever had, and if I did, it's definitely been probably 5 years, is a mascara. I just don't have any e.l.f. mascaras. I just have never found one that I particularly liked, that I felt worked for me. So actually, if y'all use any e.l.f. mascaras and have any recommendations on ones that are really good, definitely let me know, because I would love to try them out, and they're so affordable. I would definitely give it a try. And e.l.f. actually, I wanted to just throw in there, I'm not wearing them now, but e.l.f. has some really good, on the topic of, lashes. They have really good lashes. Not the best mascaras as far as I've tried, but they do have some really good lashes. I actually wore a pair of their lashes during my wedding, or for my wedding, on my wedding day. And I've used them in a couple videos before, at least one video before. I'll link that up here, which was my wedding makeup video. I don't know if I've used them in other videos. I really like their lashes. I've hauled them before. I have probably 4 backup pairs because they're just really easy to use, really pretty. So I definitely recommend those, even though I haven't used them in this video. I definitely recommend most of the products that I use today. You will see on my eyes, it wasn't a fail, because I think they came out okay. I'll leave the house like this, but it could have been better, if you know what I mean. I used a couple products that I don't think really worked very well together. It just had a little bit of issues blending and making them work. So you'll see that. So there's a little rough patch in this video, so just bear with me as we work through that together. But overall, I completely love the way that my makeup came out. I think that it's very fun, kind of smoky, kind of sultry, but still very wearable. I love most of these products. I especially love the face products. I love this highlight. But anyway, as you can tell, I'm talking a lot, and I didn't want this video to be super long, especially because I'm using 15 different products, and if I were to show you each one and talk about each one, this video would probably be 35 minutes, and I have a lot of long videos on my channel, and I just didn't want this one to end up being half an hour. So what I did is I basically just did my makeup and showed you the products, and then I'm either gonna voice this over or just include text or something like that, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing. I'll probably just voice it over so I can walk you guys through it, but I wanted to keep this video shorter than it would have been if I would have talked through the whole thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this style of video, and I hope you like this look and e.l.f. products. If you haven't used e.l.f. or don't love e.l.f., you don't want to be sleeping on e.l.f. products. They're literally some of the best at the drugstore. So if you guys are interested in seeing this full face of e.l.f. products and how I got this look, then let's just go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so let's do this. I'm starting off with a bare face and using the Illuminating Primer Mist, which this is an incredibly aggressive sprayer, so that's why my face is cringing. Just be careful, but I do like it, and it is very illuminating. And then I'm combining the Flawless Finish Foundation in the shade Sand, and I'm using the Total Face Sponge, which, as you can see, this is almost shaped exactly like the Real Techniques Expert Sponge, or whatever that orange one is by Real Techniques. They have the exact same shape. This one's just really soft, and I like it a lot. So I look kind of crazy, but I just dotted the foundation all over my face. You don't really have to worry about this drying too fast or anything, so I put it everywhere, and then I just blended it out with the flat end of the sponge. And I love this foundation. I highly recommend it. I think it has great coverage, and it's long wearing, and it's super affordable, obviously, so I love it. And as you can see, it's quite glowy as well. And then I'm using 2 different shades of their HD Lifting Concealer. I have the shade Light and the shade Medium, and These shades run very dark. Like this is the shade light, and do you see how dark this is? It's not light at all. And then you can see even the shade medium is almost a little too dark for me. So just be aware of that if you are purchasing this. Like the shade just runs so dark. But I just applied the darker shade on my blemishes and then the shade light under my eyes and blended it out with the sponge. I used the pointy end of the sponge for this part. But the coverage is quite good, and I do like the formula of these concealers. I just wish the shade range was better. And then with the Correct and Set Under Eye Powder in the shade, I think it's Rosé. I just don't know how to do the accent little thing in the font for this, for like the screen little titles. But I just used, I think this is a crown brush, and I basically just kind of packed it under my eyes, and then I also just set the concealer that was on my lid with it as well. As you can see, it kind of got everywhere and like got on my nose, and I don't think I noticed that because it's there for like a minute. And then I took the HD powder in the shade Soft Luminance, which I really like this, but it just gets everywhere. It is such like a loose, finely milled powder. It's very easy to like kick up everywhere. But I just set my whole face with this. I don't think this necessarily gives you a ton of luminance, but I do really like it. And this is my like holy grail ride or die eyebrow cream. I use the shades light brown and dark brown, kind of just depending on the day, honestly. Sometimes I use light brown in the front portion and dark brown in like the, you know, towards the tail of my brow. It kind of just depends. I've literally only used these products for my eyebrows for like probably 2 years now, if not longer. This is literally just my go-to brow product, and they're so affordable and they work so well. I highly recommend them. And then this is like a super throwback to this contouring and blush duo in this shade St. Lucia. I'm sure y'all remember this from back in the day. Like everybody had this, everybody used it. As you can see, mine is very well loved. I've hit serious pan on the bronzer. So I'm using that. It's quite dark, which is good for me at this time of year just because I do have quite a tan. I can't really use this shade when I'm fair, but this is such a classic duo from e.l.f. and I love it. This is actually one of their newer products, their primer infused blush. This is in the shade Always Cheeky. They actually have primer infused bronzers as well. This is like a newer line, but as you can see, this specific shade is a little bit light for my tan right now. Like I'm having to build it up quite a bit. It's a gorgeous color, just very simple every day, but it's just not super pigmented, and it's just a lighter shade. So I built it up a bit, but I love it. And then this is honestly like one of my favorite highlighters of all time. This is in the shade Pearl Glow, and I actually use this blending brush. Y'all have seen me use this in other videos before. It's an eyeshadow brush, but I just think it's the perfect size and shape and like density for highlighting. I honestly think it's a little too big to use on the eyes, so I literally use this brush pretty much exclusively for highlighter and no other brush, and it is just perfect, and this highlighter is freaking blinding. It's stunning. I love it. And then just to lock everything in, I just sprayed that primer mist one more time. As you can see, that mist is like very luminous. So then with the Mad for Matte 2 palette, I love this one. I especially love like that little pop of purple there, so of course I used it here. And I'm just starting off with the Bone shade as per usual, as y'all know, just to set down my lid. And then these shades don't have names, unfortunately, but this is like a rosy pink shade, and as you can see, that's just one dip. These are actually quite pigmented, which I love about these. This is a $10 palette, and the quality is just out of this world. So I'm just blowing out this like pinkish shade, pretty much just all over the transition, pretty dispersed all over the crease, a little above, a little below. And then with this like a slightly darker like grayish like cool shade, this wasn't as pigmented as I kind of needed it to be. I probably should have maybe started with this in the transition just because it didn't show up and I had to pack it on a lot, but it is a gorgeous cool tone shade, and I feel like it's very unique. Like I don't have a lot of shades like this. So now that I kind of have a base in the crease, I'm taking these Molten Liquid eyeshadows. I'm just showing you all three that I have, but I only use the Rose Gold shade, which is this one here. And this is kind of when things start getting a little rough, like I mentioned in the intro. So these are super, super, super pretty. As you can see, like, they're very reflective. They've got a lot going on, but they're just a little bit difficult to use. They're definitely not like the same level as the Stila ones. As you can see, like on this second eye, I literally kept dipping in, trying to like get product onto the doe foot to build it up, and like for whatever reason, see how it's just not building? I don't know what was going on. So I took the e.l.f. Detail Crease Brush, which I freaking love this brush. I highly recommend it. And I wanted to use that to like deepen the outer corner and the crease, but when I tried blending it kind of near where I put that cream shadow, do you see how it's getting all chunky and like the color is just grabbing onto it? Ugh. It really doesn't look good. And so these Molten eyeshadows, they really just don't blend. I even went back to my fluffier brush to try to like fix the situation, but there was really nothing I could do aside from like starting over. So here you can see the same exact thing is happening, and see how like you can barely see the glitter shade on my lid? Like I just didn't get any color out of it. It's getting so patchy. It's like grabbing onto the outer corner. It's grabbing onto that weird little patch in my crease. I'm getting a little frustrated, but the show must go on. So I decided to grab this Stardust glitter liner in Sparkling Silver just to try to save this a little bit, get a little bit more shimmer onto the lid. And this is a really nice glitter liner. I kind of just use it as like an eyeshadow topper, but I was kind of having the same problem. Like it just was not sticking to this other lid, and then it got a little chunky. I do really like this product in general, but this look, it was just not freaking working out. So I was like, whatever. I went back to that gray tone shade just to blow it out on the lower lash line, which is the only thing I did on the lower lash line. I didn't want to do anything too smoky. But yeah, the whole upper lid is honestly basically just a fail, but we kept it moving, kept it rolling. You can always try to make it work. So then I took the e.l.f. That same highlighter for my face in Pearl Glow, just because the obviously matte palette doesn't have any shimmer shades, and I decided to try to fix the lid even more by just packing that shade on top of the liquid eyeshadow and the glitter that I put on. So I'm basically just trying to salvage this as much as possible. And then I also drug it on my inner corner and my brow bone. And this looks super janky. The like lid part of this eyeliner ended up breaking at some point, but like the inner part of the lid stayed intact, so it still works perfectly. And this is a really fat like marker eyeliner, but it's super black, and it honestly works great. It still has a lot of juice, and I've had this for a while, so I actually really do recommend this eyeliner. It's really nice. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a mascara, so I hopped off camera to put a little mascara on, and this is the look with the mascara. And then I had one finishing touch. e.l.f. actually doesn't sell this anymore, but this is their Jumbo Eyeshadow Stick in the shade Like a Boss, and it's like this really gorgeous navy color. I love how this looks with any look, and especially with my eye color. I just think it's gorgeous. And then, of course, last but not least, this is a slightly newer product. I love e.l.f.'s matte liquid lipsticks. This is one of my favorite shades that I have. I have like 3 or 4 of them. They're just so comfortable. They're long wearing, and the colors are absolutely gorgeous. And then I just ended topping it with one of e.l.f.'s plumping lip glosses, which these aren't like super plumping. They really hardly even tingle. So if you are apprehensive about that, don't worry about it. But their lip glosses are so good. They're not sticky. They're creamy. They're pigmented. So this is the final look. I know the lids are like kind of a fail, but I figure, like I would leave the house with this. It's not like anything super noticeable, but I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I like these one brand tutorials. I'm hoping to do more. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, we would love to have you. And until next time, we'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.